Hey, what is going on, MonkeyPod universe? Greg Jenkins coming to you from the MonkeyPod worldwide headquarters, and in this video, I've got a real quick solution to a question I have seen a handful of times over the years, and maybe one that you have struggled with as well. So the question was asked by Susan, one of our OG members, and she was saying, I'm wondering if anyone has an easy way to find out when someone's first purchase was in Keap. They do have tags on all the products that are sold, but they need a mechanism for helping determine which product was purchased first, or more specifically, when they first became a customer. And Keap has all sorts of order reports or payment reports. However, it doesn't let you easily find which of those took place first. You can sort by the date and you could visually inspect and try to find the person, but we came up with a method for taking the first date somebody buys and storing it into a contact custom field. So stick around and I will show you exactly how we solved this for Susan and for anyone else who needs this type of functionality. Now, if you are comfortable with Excel or Google Sheets, then you certainly could export your list of orders and you could use the spreadsheet formulas to find the number of purchases for a specific contact ID and then to only return the earliest date that a purchase took place. And then you could isolate that and re-import into Keap and update the existing buyers with their first purchase date into a custom field, right? However, if you're not a Excel or Google Sheets wizard, and I am not, you might want a way to do this automatically, and you might want a way to do it in a recurring, ongoing basis so that that field, the first purchase date, is automatically populated for new buyers and not overwritten with subsequent purchases. So here is what we came up with for Susan. Fortunately, Susan was already using Plus This, so we have a feature inside of Plus This that we can depend on with a few slight adjustments in order to make this happen. Now, if you don't yet have Plus This, you could certainly set up a free trial, but they have a wide range of tools that you could take advantage of to justify that monthly expense. You could check it out at tryplusthis.com. Now, the tool that I am heading towards here is the date calculator. So it's what's the date, and the reason that I'm leaning on this is because one of the options is the contact's first order. So this feature is generally used to calculate the date between two different events. So the date that they subscribed to your blog and the date that they started a free trial, right? And you can see how long it took for someone to make that conversion. Now, we are going to look at the date of their first order. And ideally, I would just pop this date into a custom field here, first purchase date. But the way that this tool works is that it won't let you actually use this unless there is a calculation included. So in order to hack this, I just do add subtract and leave this at 0. So effectively what we're doing is we're taking the date that they first purchased, we're adding 0 days, 0 months, 0 hours, and 0 minutes to it, and then storing it into a custom field. So all that will effectively do is move the date of their first order over into a custom field that I have created. You also could put a human formatted date into a field, and that would be really useful if you wanted to be able to mention it, like, hey, since you first purchased back on May 20th, 2025, we hope you've made a lot of progress, right? If you wanted the ability to use that in a sentence, then maybe you would want it formatted. I'm not going to use any of the other settings or features here, but you could play around with this if you find that there's more functionality you need. So all we really need is to name this tool. So we'll call it First Purchase Calculator. There it is. And I will categorize it into my admin section and click save. Now, the way that Plus This works, if you're not familiar, is it gives you an HTTP post URL that you can then use in your different campaigns. So I would then grab that URL, and over here inside of my automation, I have set up a very simple automation here. It starts with any purchase. I run them through an empty sequence. I'll tell you why in just a moment. And then we have a decision diamond where we either run the plus this feature or we don't run the plus this feature. So in this sequence, we want to run the plus this feature. So I will just pop in the URL that we copied from plus this right there. We don't need any other, actually we do need a query parameter. We need the contact ID to be added here. So we will merge in the contact ID from the additional fields section, and then we'll click save. And then we don't need anything in this sequence. So we don't need to run the HTTP post. Instead, I will just remove them from the sequence when they are added. We don't need anything to happen in here. So I'll just set this up to remove them and click save and then click done. So those two features are both configured. Now in the decision diamond, the way that we are determining if we run the plus this feature or not is by whether or not that field has a value. So we're only going to need to set that field once. So if the first purchase date is empty, then we want to run the plus this feature because that means that it hasn't yet been populated. And if the first purchase date field is not empty, that means that there is a value in it, then we don't want to run that feature. So you could run the feature and it wouldn't really change anything because their first purchase date would just be updated, but we don't need to waste tool runs in plus this if we already know their first purchase date. That'll only ever need to be set once. So you can set up the decision diamond rules. That way when any purchase happens, it triggers this. They go through the empty sequence and then the decision diamond determines if we need to run that feature to find the purchase date or if we don't. Now, the reason I added this empty sequence is because you might want a way to calculate this for your existing buyers rather than waiting for them to make another purchase. So what you could do is find that audience and then drop them into this empty sequence. Actually, you probably could just drop them directly into this run plus this feature sequence because you are setting it up for the first time, so you know that those individuals don't have anything in that field yet. But the idea behind this empty sequence is it gives you the ability to manually insert people using the decision diamond to filter them and then running the feature for the people for whom it hasn't yet been run. Now, one plus this feature that I glossed over, or setting that I glossed over, is you also can apply a tag when this has been completed. So the reason that might be useful is if you wanted to use the tag as the filter criteria instead of the presence of a date in that field. You could set it up that way and achieve the same result. So what this gives us is a really simple way to use the plus this date calculator tool to take the first date that somebody purchased and move it over to a custom field. Now, there are countless ways that you could use that, either to calculate the time between their first purchase and joining your membership, or to calculate the time between their first purchase and their second purchase, how regularly people are coming back, or to find people who haven't done what you wanted them to do since the date of that first purchase, etc., etc. Any number of searches or reports, this could be included as criteria, because once you have that value in a custom field, you then can use it throughout any of your searches or reports as additional filters or sorting mechanism to help you make the most use or value out of that data or that information. So I hope that this is valuable for you. If you have a similar solution or perhaps an easier way to achieve the same result, please let us know in the comments below. And if you would like a place to ask questions and get reliable advice and responses, as Susan has on this particular one, you can also join us in the OG membership at ogmembership.com. Now, if you liked this video, please feel free to drop a comment, to like it, to subscribe to the channel, or do us a solid and share it with anyone who you think it can serve. That's it, my friends. Take care.